Blog Talk Radio.
Between what we see and what we think we know and believe, there are worlds. There are things that we cannot understand. Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Investigations team is in charge of the field. Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Investigations team.
Welcome to another edition of Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Radio. I am your host for tonight, Jeremy, also known as King Sasquatch, and on the phone tonight we also have King Gray, and Becky is on the phone.
Yeah. Hi.
Yep. And then we also have one of our friends, Art, supposed to be calling in a little bit later, and another friend of ours named Thomas. And tonight's show is going to be on Bigfoot and Bigfoot-like creatures. And Tim is getting himself situated. While he does that, I'm going to go over some news. Nope. No, it doesn't, Tim. Sorry, he's having problems over there. Yeah, anyways. Something that I thought was neat was that UFO that I was talking about last week in Argentina that shot that beam of light. Somebody actually got that filmed on camera, and they submitted it to the Coast to Coast AM I was looking at. And another thing I was talking about that was really weird is some people actually created a robot that depicts the looks of Einstein. It looks like Einstein. And it's at San Diego University, and basically this robot, it reacts to people's emotions and things like that, which is really weird and bizarre. So I thought it was kind of fun to share. And it says that this is the first robot of its type, and it's supposed to be the most advanced ever created. Why it looks like Einstein, I have no idea.
That's kind of cool, though.
It's cool, but I don't know why it has to look like Einstein.
I want to see how it reacts to people's emotions. I think that's interesting.
They said that it knows when, like, if you're mad or something, it'll depict the looks in your face, and then it'll start acting towards however you're acting towards it, I'm guessing is what it was saying.
Yeah, I want to see that.
I thought it was just weird. It says you're on air right now, Tim. Hello, Becky, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, thanks for my phone.
I wish you could just shut your big yapper!
And they found a bunch of mummies over in Saqqara, Egypt. Egyptian laborers used crowbars and picks Wednesday to lift the lid off a 2,600-year-old limestone sarcophagus, exposing for the first time since it was sealed in antiquity 8 perfectly preserved mummies. The mummies are wrapped in dark satin canvas, and they're part of Egypt's latest archaeological discovery in a burial chamber 36 feet below ground in the necropolis of Saqqara. The find was publicly announced Monday and shown to reporters for the first time on Wednesday. Egypt's archaeology chief, Zahi Hawass, was dubbed it the storeroom of mummies because it had 8 wooden and limestone sarcophagi as well as of at least 24 mummies.
Wow.
Yep. Neato.
Cool.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
And for those of you who have been reading up on the Australian Victoria fires, I guess you'd call it, the wildfires, I guess what they were saying was that they're saving more animals around there and that the whole forest is all up in flames and all that.
Yeah, it's pretty devastating over there. It's like, I heard it's like the worst fire they ever had in Australia.
Yeah, they said that they also got that koala named Sam the koala, I guess, going to be some kind of logo for years to come or something. The guy was giving it water.
What?
Oh, they found some kind of koala and they named it Sam, and it's like some kind of national logo to save animals is what it's going to turn into.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was kind of weird.
I don't know, Tommy. It might be pretty scary in there.
And Mount Redoubt. Unrest at Redoubt volcano continues. Though no eruption has yet occurred, volcanic tremors and small distant earthquakes have been an ongoing problem for about a month or two. Clear webcam images today showed that a stream flume rising up from several hundred feet into the crater throughout the day. The volcano began venting and rumbling in January 2009. For the first week of February, the seismic activity increased so much that the Alaska Volcano Observatory, also known as the AVO, has warned Mount Redoubt could erupt in days to a couple of weeks. I think I mentioned that also a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if anybody's kept up on that or not.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think Nick was talking about it. And in Chicago, the killer that killed the ant, Tony the Ant, is going to jail.
Whoever that is.
Yeah. In Chicago, a reputed Chicago mob boss convicted in the murders of the organizations in Las Vegas is linked, and the man's brother has been sentenced to life in prison. U.S. District Judge James B. Segal sentenced James Marcello on Thursday after the final jury was held. They held him responsible for the deaths of Tony the Ant Spatoro and his brother Michael. Tony was the inspiration for Joe Pesci's character in the movie Casino. Marcello was convicted, and 4 others in the landmark Operation Family Secrets trial. Vagel says that Marcello had to pay for his crimes, and that's why he killed him. He declined to address the court before it was sentenced, and the former police attorney, Anthony Doyle, is the last defendant convicted at the trial who has yet to be sentenced. Basically, Tony the Ant got killed, and then
all people that killed him also did.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Why is it called Tony the Ant?
I don't know. I didn't know about that.
How do you get a name like that?
The ant? What?
Like A-N-T, like the bug.
Okay.
A very imposing mobster name.
I don't want to be called Jeremy the Ant. It'd be crazy. Oh, something else that I thought was kind of, this goes up there with the Einstein robot right here. The multi-terrain camera, or MTC, as some paranormal investigators called it. They built, basically what it is, I didn't make a long one about this one, but what it is basically is, have you ever seen the show Robot Wars, or like BattleBots?
Yeah. They
created some kind of weird vehicle that runs on 2 treads and has it's shaped like a ghost and has cameras on it, and it runs up and down like an unmanned vehicle to go do ghost investigating, I guess.
Wow, what a waste of money.
And they designed it to look like an army tank, but it's shaped like a ghost. So you could get the Einstein robot and have it play with the vehicle. You'll be set.
This is like a bunch of terrible, like, weird names that no one cares to hear about.
What's the Einstein thing?
Yeah, like, who really wants to hear about an Einstein robot?
I don't know, but it senses emotions.
I don't know. I've seen it earlier.
You seen the picture?
I think, yeah, you showed me. Anyways.
The Festival des Spirits will be presented in Louisiana Spirits Paranormal Investigations from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And and basically they're giving away EMF meters and paranormal stuff. And it's some kind of convention on February 28th down in Louisiana for those of you listeners who live down there. Or if you just feel like traveling to go see it, I guess. Sorry, I got a question. Yeah, would you like to talk about the team news at all, Tim?
The team news?
Yep.
Well, at the moment we're still planning for paratours and everything. We're still getting new locations and everything, so it should be...
Oh, goody, goody, goo-drops. Everything I dreamed is coming true.
Yeah, then I totally lost my place, but yeah, basically the team news, we're just planning for paratours still and getting new equipment. Not very much news, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad Brent and Nick couldn't be on tonight. They just couldn't make it on.
Well, our friend Art's going to be on later, so he has some interesting stories he's going to talk about.
Oh, cool. I didn't know he was going to be on.
Yeah. We're going to get on with tonight's topic, and it's going to be on Bigfoot and Bigfoot-related creatures. We have a lot of listeners tonight actually on our AIM screen name and things like that. And I would like to start off with a question that I just got actually. They were saying, do you think that the possibility of these wildfires down in Australia could be possibly forcing the Bigfoot to move to new environments?
The Yowie, it could, yeah, it's probably most likely. I don't, because I know we're in the fires in the Pacific Northwest and everything. They say it flees to try to get away from it. So
well,
I would think the same exact thing for the Yowie too.
Well, I know a good example of something like that is when they had the California wildfires down here over the summer. People were actually seeing the Bigfoot in spots like western Nevada and things like that where it's usually not seen, or it has been seen but not very often. They're saying, do you think that's why there could be a decline in Sasquatch reports in certain areas? Like the fire could have driven it out or killed them or things like that?
It may be. But I think its intelligence is pretty smart, though, so I think it'd know to get away from the smoke and stuff.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't want to stay there when there's fire.
I was going to say, even cavemen knew that fire was probably going to hurt.
Well, could you elaborate a little bit on that real quick, Tim? Because I'm going to do something on our page really quick.
But elaborate on how Bigfoot thinks fire is going to hurt?
No, just...
But no, I like I said, I think it's pretty smart that it would think that to stay away from the smoke and the fire, because I think it would obviously want to go towards where like there's clean air. So.
Yeah.
Well, if they're smart enough to stay away from us, then yeah, I think they'd be smart enough to get out of a forest that's on fire. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, something else that I would like to talk about that I just got another question about. They're asking us a little bit about the Patterson-Gimlin film, actually, from, I know you guys have seen that one, where the Bigfoot's walking in the Bluff Creek bed over by Willow Creek, California. And for those of you who don't know where that is, that's in Northern California, up there over by almost in Oregon. But people are asking us if this is a hoax or not, and I'd like to have either Becky or Tim elaborate on this for a minute.
Well,
I'll start. Something.
Okay, I'll start. This is like the most criticized film of all time, but people say it's a hoax because they think it's a man in a gorilla suit, but at the time there was no technology to make a full gorilla suit to that extent. The technological thing they had was actually the Planet of the Apes head, and it only mounted on like your shoulders and took up just your head area, and they had no finished body for it because they just wore clothes over it. So there's really no way it could have been hoax to that extent. Like there's no way it could have been hoax, in my opinion. But
and there's also the deal that it's it's female.
Exactly, yeah, because people say they see breasts on it, and they think they could even be like a child on its chest, is what some people say. But yeah, because I know it's been under such scrutinized investigation. Like it's been studied by hundreds of scientists, and they say that you can see the muscles moving on its arm under its skin and everything too.
Yeah.
So
and expressions, the face, you know, you see expressions in the face and changing and everything. But something that I was talking about it with my aunts recently, and they were saying how they had heard that, I guess is it Patterson? Is he the one that died?
Yeah. Yep.
And saying how on his deathbed he said it was a hoax. Now, is that true? I thought I heard somewhere. I thought I heard that he didn't say that. He never said that it was a hoax.
Because
so why do people think that then, if he didn't say it?
Well, there's also a lot of other different people that say that people say things on their deathbed. I know people do, like the famous Loch Ness footage was proven to be a fatality. But
well, I believe that one.
Yeah.
I was saying, yeah, I know about the Loch Ness monster. The guy deathbed saying it was a hoax, but yeah, I've heard people say that about the Patterson film, but I've heard elsewhere that he never said that, so I got confused.
Well, they have evidence to prove that the film is real. Well, one of the main things why it's supposedly real is because, for number one, the ape's arms are extra longer than the human. They swoop down by the animal's knees, and another thing that was also noticed was when the creature actually turns around and looks around at Roger and Gimlin, like on the film, it goes to turn its head to go look at them, but actually its head turns and bumps into its shoulder. But since the apes don't really have necks built like ours, if they're going to turn around to look at you from the side point of view, they're going to have to actually turn their whole upper torso around to look at you, just because their necks aren't built like ours and they have to do that. Or they'll have to move their head all the way back and slowly turn around. And whatever this creature did, it had to move the whole upper portion of its body to turn around to look at them. And to me, just the little details like that, the average person wouldn't be thinking about that. They're going to make a hoax. Yeah. And also, the only person that would have been able to make the costumes like that would be the people that made Planet of the Apes. And if you notice, the people that make the ape costumes, it wasn't a full-body costume. It was only the arms, legs, and head for the most part. Got all quiet.
Yeah. But, no, another thing to bring up about Patterson on his deathbed is that, because, you know, there's always going to be people that say, oh, I faked that just to disprove it, you know, even though
I said throw down, boy.
Well, that's just another thing. There's been like at least 9 people who have come forward and said they were wearing the costume in that video, but obviously if there's more than one person coming forward, you can't believe that, so...
Exactly.
The other guy from Makina last year said he wore the costume, actually. I thought that was funny. And they can't find the suit.
Well, because here's the funny thing, too. Like, it's what was it, 67 year?
Yep.
Yeah, 1967. I don't think, like, I know the Bigfoot phenomenon, it was still somewhat becoming like what it is nowadays, you know, because I know it originated in the 50s, like when it became mainstream, but I don't think anyone in 1967 would have been like on a hell-bent mission to fake something like that.
Well, somebody in our chat room actually has a good point. They said, do you think maybe he could have said that it was a hoax on his deathbed to possibly protect them and keep people from going after him?
Actually, yeah.
That's so possible.
Yeah, that is possible. I never thought of it.
I meant to do that.
Yeah,
but I still wonder, did he actually say it? Does anyone know if he actually said that or not?
I don't think you really know unless you were there, because a lot of people will just say things like I'm not really sure myself.
Yeah, the only one you'd actually have to probably talk to is Gimlin. He's the only one that's alive that's seen it. So, and he.
Yeah, see, I thought I heard, like, I saw a show with him saying that, you know, Patterson didn't say that he actually truly believed it was real. So, I don't know what to think. I mean, everything I've seen so far seems to point more toward it being a real creature rather than a hoax. So I believe it.
Oh, yeah, me too. And I think it's actually one of the best films. Like, I think, in my opinion, it's the best evidence to support that Sasquatch is real, other than, like, hair samples and DNA samples that they have in Monster Quest. But, like I said, just the time it was filmed, the 60s, like I said, it was still becoming, like, a popular thing to study. But, like, a lot of the hoaxes didn't start to begin until, like, the 1970s, and when some of the first hoaxes were... Like a lot, like Jeremy, when was one of the first hoaxes? I know you were telling me about it one time.
I mean, one of the first hoaxes of the Patterson thing, or do you mean?
Or just of like the Sasquatch phenomenon in general? Because I know you told me sometime in the 70s.
Oh well, The weeks coming after when they released the Patterson footage, when everybody started coming up into the area, they said the police came driving up on the area where they actually seen the Patterson creature, and they said they had some people with some giant feet sandal things made out of plywood. Some guy maybe was walking around with them making fake casts.
Mm.
You guys have probably heard of that though.
Yeah, well, I never heard of that. It's just I've heard like people doing similar things, but I didn't hear it so soon after the Patterson.
The most sorriest excuse I've ever seen was that show where they put the guy in the monkey suit and said they made the Patterson film to a T, but yeah, it was nothing like it.
Oh, I know. I remember that.
And the BFRO just thrashes it on their website, which is funny. But something else somebody just asked me to bring up, actually, on our AOL screen name is Ness. Have you heard of Ness, Becky?
No. I don't think so.
Like the Bigfoot Ness.
Oh, those, yeah. Okay, yeah, the things that they showed on, like, Monster Quest, those kind of, the things that are made out of the sticks and something, kind of little fort-looking things. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Someone's trying to ask me right now, is there any presence of Ness over in Oklahoma area? Becky's turf?
Well, I honestly don't know that much about the stuff that's happening in Oklahoma Bigfoot-wise, except for, Tom last week brought up that lady with the grandchild, I think. But I don't really know. I know there's some places here that are supposed, there's been sightings, but boy, I'm really not that informed about Bigfoot. I'm really not. You guys keep saying I am, but I'm not. And
Becky took anthropology, everybody. She's lying.
There was that episode of Monster Quest. I think that was it might have been the Ohio Grassman one that had the nest. Yeah. So I guess you see those in Ohio. I don't know about Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. I know they're also popular in the Pacific Northwest, too.
Nests are?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, the nests are supposed to be popular up there because they say they make them as temporary shelters. Or some people even say they make them as like permanent houses. I don't know.
But I know that there was actually some footage that came out about a year ago where they actually had two juveniles that were playing around in the background, and some people actually found one of the nests, and the Sasquatch put his hands up on its head like it was frustrated that the people were messing around with the nest. And I guess whatever it was pacing around for a while, then it moved away eventually. Me and Brent came across that probably about a year ago. Too bad our pictures or our video didn't come out good from when I see my Bigfoot. That's really sad. Somebody right now is asking us, where do you think would be a good hotspot in the country right now and why?
Oregon, Washington, Northern California, and the South. Those are the big hotspots. Pretty much
any sort of major river that doesn't freeze over and has lots of, I wouldn't say plant life, but anything that would have plentiful food sources. I wouldn't say just one sources, and then water that never freezes over for the winter time. Because we don't really know if these creatures migrate or not for the winter or what happens. I know one scientist actually was saying that maybe they hibernate in the winter, like a bear would.
Oh, but then again, there's like the Yeti. It lives in cold environments 24/7.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it hibernates or not. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I know the Pacific Northwest they say is the #1 hotspot. Then I know there's some in the South, and then there's some in the Midwest. So I don't know. I guess you could say just generally most of the United States and southern Canada.
Well, they're all over the world, so.
Yeah. Well, I know that, but I mean, like, they say the #1 hotspots.
Oh, yeah, and right now we also have somebody asking, do you think that these nests are made out of stick formations, or do you think stick formations are their own type of phenomenon?
Well, here's the thing. I think the nests, like I said, are the temporary homes. Maybe the other, like the stick formations, they may mean, like, You know, maybe they're marked for territorial use or something like that, maybe.
Well,
I don't know, because I know apes, they are really territorial, and they do make, like, they make mounds of dirt or mounds of twigs and stuff, so it's very similar. So I think it could be, like, territorial use for the stick formations.
Mm.
Well, what I was looking at earlier was some of our friends that actually investigate Bigfoot and have seen them. We haven't actually seen them ourselves. That's our team, but people were saying that the stick formations that they see, they always appeared after they were walking down a trail. On their way back, they would find these stick formations, almost like it's giving them a warning or something, or letting them know that they're in the animal's area, I guess you could say.
So, like, it would be like a warning?
Yeah, and somebody else says maybe that they're marking a safe way of passage.
Mm-hmm. It could be.
I'm not really sure what to think.
Well, because I know they're really shy creatures for the most part, and it could be maybe they're just trying to communicate with other Bigfoots to let them know that this is a safe area or this is my territory or something.
Yeah. Our MySpace, we have somebody right now that's saying that maybe the stick formations are just uncompleted nests of some sort. I know I just said that a minute ago, but they're saying maybe it's a half-built nest or a nest that's just fallen over time.
It could be.
Well, the ones I see look pretty completed. The pictures that were on Sasquatch, I mean, these are pretty elaborate, just like almost like little forts or huts. I mean, the way they built them looked really, I mean, it's not something a normal animal looks like it'd be able to do.
Yeah,
it's like something almost a person would be able to do, a human.
I know. If these things could be ancient humans or even great apes of some sort, all the apes and ancient humans both use tools, and who knows? Maybe they could have made shelters. The apes, who knows? Tim had to step away for a minute. But another good point that I'd like to bring up is the Salmon River. Actually, I think it's in California. They said that they're having high amounts of sightings right now, and they said the past 2 weeks they've had more sightings than they've had in the last couple of months or years. What some guy was telling me. And right now he's telling me that his team's actually going to go up there for 2 weeks, 2 more weeks, I should say. But this time they're going to be testing out some kind of new method for telepathically looking for Bigfoot with a psychic. Which
that'd be interesting.
I'm not sure how that would work. I'm waiting for Tim to get back to elaborate on this one because he wanted me to wait for him. We're talking about how our friends said they wanted to telepathically look for Bigfoot in the Salmon River, Tim.
Oh, interesting. Good luck on that. Got quiet.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking.
No, it's okay. But then, well, I don't know. Then again, telepathically, because I know Native Americans say they believe he's like a spirit or something like that. So maybe telepathically, maybe they could somehow.
Well, psychics really good psychics are able to just pick up on stuff that goes on in an area. So they'd be able to pick up on the presence of a Bigfoot.
Yeah, it could.
It's not that crazy.
Yeah. Well,
sorry,
I know.
I off it for a minute.
No, it's okay. I know we're going to our secret location again this year, and I know we were going to buy a bunch of new sighting scopes and stuff, right, Jared? Because there's so much wide open mountains. There's no way that one team could just how can I say our team we've been to this location 3 times, right, Jared?
Yeah.
2 or 3 times, but yeah. We're gonna buy some new sighting scopes and everything, so we can try to search the nearby mountains and everything also.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I know they say, what was it? Remember, Jeremy, the one Native American or whatever? They said they own the mountain or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a Native American tribe near where we were. They said that they call him the man that roams the mountain. He owns the mountains and everything. So we're gonna try to buy new sighting scopes to try to look higher on the mountains, maybe.
Well, there's an hour left in the show, and I hate to cut you off there for a minute, Tim, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, we have a caller that is waiting to call in, and we'll go over a couple more topics, and you're listening to BFP Radio.
Hello, this is Mothman Warrior 1.0. Paratour is right around the corner. Stay tuned for updates and news by going to our website at freewebs.com/BFPteam and bfpteam.yuku.com. We will be investigating Bigfoot, ghosts, UFOs, and other bizarre things from around this world. This is Mothman Warrior 1.0.
Do you have a case for the Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Investigators? Do you have some sort of cryptid or ghost haunting your home? Well, you are in luck. The Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Investigators can help you out. Just go check out our website, www.freewebs.com/BFPteam, and fill out a form, and we will be with you in a moment. Or you could go on to our forums, bfpteam.yuku.com, and we will help you. Again, this is King Sasquatch, and you are listening to Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Team.
Super team extraordinaire, freakazoid, freakazoid, runs around in underwear, freakazoid, freakazoid, rescues Washington DC, freakazoid, freakazoid, and it's something that is on TV, freakazoid, freakazoid, it breaks overloaded, it has construction clothing, textbook sleep for sleeping boys, freakazoid, freakazoid.
Check out Dixie Bentley, here comes your hate, when surfing on the internet, and what that's the cyberspace, he's trying to shoot a freakazoid, promise to the freak, he drives us in a crazy, cause he's a lunatic.
It's one big in the freakaland, freakazoid, break the beat, but the farmers have to stand, freakazoid, chimpanzee, running around in the freak.
Hello, I'm Mr. Webb. A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Go right to the source and ask the horse. He'll give you the answer that you endorse. He's always on a steady course. Talk to Mr. Ed. People yakety yak the street and waste your time a day. But Mr. Ed will never speak unless he has something to say. A horse is a horse, of course, and this one will talk till his voice is hoarse. You never heard of a talking horse? Well, listen to this.
I am Mr. Ed.
And we are back on Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Team Radio. And we have a caller on the line from 651.
Yep, I'm here.
Yep. Oh, and name, please?
Excuse me?
I said, what's your name, please?
The name's Elusive One.
Oh, hi, how's it going?
Everything is going good. Am I coming on the air okay?
Yeah, you're coming in fine.
All right, good. Yeah, I'm the founder of the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, and I've been a long-time researcher, not just in the state of Minnesota, but in other states as well. Been to Ohio. It's actually where I had my first encounter. Had a couple encounters out there in Ohio, and just here, thought I'd give you guys a call and listen in. If you guys have any questions you'd like to ask, please feel free.
Oh yeah, would you mind if we asked you just like a little bit of information about your team?
Yeah, sure.
So have you guys gotten any good casts or anything like that in the last couple of years? However long you guys have been around?
The past couple of years, I haven't been out in the field as much. I have had an accident at work, which has kept me from being as active as I used to be in the field. But as far as activity going in the field when we were in Ohio, me and one of my team members have been chased out of the woods by a Bigfoot. Well, another member of our team watched the creature chase us. And, he said that thing was going from tree to tree and was running really fast. And, I had a little Polaroid camera on me, so I stopped and turned around and stood my ground waiting for this thing to come running out of the woods. And my buddy's up in the car watching this. He had a better point of view looking down over everything. So what are you doing? The thing's right behind you. Start running. So looked at my friend right next to me, and he was pale as Casper, white as a ghost, and so we started running back towards the car, and we hopped in through the windows, Dukes of Hazzard style, and just got the heck out of there for the meantime.
Have you guys had other, I don't know if I'd say threatening, but any other scary incidents also, or?
Yeah, we have. Well, in southern Ohio is where I go to, the Wayne National Forest down there, or the Shawnee National Forest. There's a road called White Gravel Road in Ohio, and that's pretty been known by the locals as a weird road, you can say. And one night we were down there, camped out in the van, and it's just as about we were settling down. I was the last one up, of course, but about 15 to 25 feet from the van, started getting some growling. Wasn't a dog, wasn't a bear. I've been, in the woods. I like to go deer hunt and all that stuff. I can differentiate different sounds that the animals make. And this was a really low, gurgling growl, really eerie type of growl that would make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and goosebumps all over your skin. At the first time I heard it, listened to it, see if it would come back again. Sure enough, it growled again. At that point, I decided to lock the windows and the doors and just hunker down for the night and see if there's any activity. Pretty much got the mini tape recorder out at that time, just to see if it could pick up anything, but it did not. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Every time we go back to Ohio, there's definitely something there worth researching, and it seems like every time we go back there, we get good contacts and encounters.
That sounds pretty interesting, actually. I know we actually had a weird encounter last time we went out last summer to California. Would you like to talk a little about when we were being circled, Tim?
Yeah, well, we were up there camping and looking for it for a couple of days in an unknown hotspot near Placerville, California. But we were out there, and I didn't personally see anything. I heard a bunch of things, though. Like, we were out there, and we heard all the animals were going, like, you could hear the normal the sounds of nature for, like, the whole entire day until this one point in the day, everything just decided to just, like, stop.
Yeah.
It was like eerily quiet, and then all of a sudden it sounded like things are moving from all around, not just one, not from one way, but from all around us.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was more than one, and just moments later, like not even, I would say 2 or 3 minutes later, Jeremy, the host of the show, he actually had seen a Sasquatch run across the road, I guess.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I didn't personally see it, but I know for a fact there were like several things that were actually like, I wouldn't say circling us, but they were like just they were just probably located all just different positions all around us.
Well, if you think about it, gorillas can have a pretty big size family with about 22 members in their family. Nobody really knows how big a Sasquatch family is because there's never been a study or research done on that. But seeing that, if they do have large families like a gorilla family does, it's very possible that some of the younger, more bolder ones would come up and check you guys out and maybe even surround you guys at that time. And the best clue that something's not right in the woods is when it goes dead silence like that.
Oh, yeah, because all day long for the past 2 days before that, it didn't ever get that eerily quiet.
What was bizarre, too, was we didn't hear the sounds until we heard, it sounded like some kind of bird or something like that was, because where our camp was situated in between 3 rivers and 3 lakes where they're all in like a triangle shape. Okay. And down in one of the little creek river things, we heard it sounded like a bird of some sort making a chirping noise. And all of a sudden the whole forest got quiet except for that bird. And then the bird stopped, and not too long after that you heard the one or two little crackles of leaves or pine cones or whatever, you heard them getting smashed. Then all of a sudden you heard another one, and then another one, and another one, until there was about 3 or 4 of them, I would say.
Mm.
And we had our backs turned to but our camp was behind us, and we had our backs turned towards the camp. And when we turned our backs towards the camp, something came out of the trees and came out of my left side and crossed the road and jumped from one foot onto the other, and this was a far leap too. I said probably I know it was longer than like you or me could do it.
Oh yeah.
It was I don't know. It was amazing. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, another point to bring up is we had actually, because like around our campsite, we studied the ground to make sure if there were any footprints when we were like throughout the day. There was nothing, and then at one point we walked back to our campsite. Not even 10 or 20 feet from our tent was a 5-toed footprint. Is all I could say, and it measured over what I think it was over our.
It was about 15, I'd say, probably 15 inches. 15,
yeah, about
17 area.
Yeah, exactly, right about 15 inches. But there was nothing there throughout the entire day except for that point. And then not even, God, what would you say, Jared? 10 minutes after that is when we had the experience. So,
wow.
I think they correlate with each other because there was no footprints there the entire day.
I agree. I think they do have a form of communication within themselves. It be tree knocking or even some type of gibberish. On the films or some of the videotapes that you could hear. It's not like real talk as speech as we are used to, but it's in some type of gurgling or gibberish of some sort that they do understand and have understand for many years. Really, it's like I said, until somebody brings one in or a body is found, there's still going to be thousands and thousands of more questions than we do have answers for. And until that day comes, I think that, the proof is going to have to be a body or either great DNA or both, sadly to say. Hopefully it can be done in a humane way where we can get a body in here and, maybe sedate them, do the test, not harmful ones or anything like that, but it was just to, do the test to prove their existence and get them protected.
Exactly. Yeah, because I know there's also a humane way that like big game hunters and everything in wildlife conservation do in Africa is they actually tag the animal, like a microchip under the skin. I heard that was a revolutionary theory that a bunch of Sasquatch not detectives, but like forest rangers and everything, they had an idea if they were a real creature, they should just tag them.
Mm-hmm. Then
they could actually be tracked.
Oh yeah, I agree. Right now, I've been trying to find a veterinarian, I guess you can say, that's kind of have an interest in the subject. That way, we can get a guy with us, me and my team, that can have access to tranquilizer darts, DNA darts, sedatives, and so forth. The next question is that, once we do, and if we do ever get one by tranquilizing it, then what happens? Do we bring it to the world, to the science community to prove that their existence? And if that's done, how are we going to keep it, I guess you can say, locked up or pinned down so it can't, just get free and break our necks and rips our arms out of our sockets? But start beating us down with our own arms and so forth. And to do so, and then again, you have to, using tranquilizers, you have to know about the creature's metabolism rate and so forth. It's just, you can kind of get a figure out of the metabolism, seeing that they're a primate, and some people say that they're closely related to man. So if you put 2 and 2 together, maybe you can get a ballpark figure of what their metabolism is and take a chance with a tranquilizer. But that chance, hopefully it does work, but if not, you got to run like a bat out of hell, And the other thing is that you have to get close enough to do so. And, you got to have some big cojones to do that.
I know, I wouldn't do that.
Well, right now we have a caller, or not a caller, we have somebody asking us a question, asking our caller a question. They want to know if you think that the ape is Gigantopithecus, or if you think it's something else, or like what was your opinion on what you think this creature is?
It was sort of said Gigantopithecus, so it's supposedly extinct many thousands of years ago. Is it possible that they could have survived? Sure, anything is. How? I have no idea, but anything is possible. You always got to keep your head open. Gigantopithecus was more or less, seen in Asia. That was supposed to cross over to the Americas by the Bering Land Straits. That's very well as possible too, but all the evidence shows, as far as today, that it's been been focusedly found. All the evidence fossils have been found in Asia. But yeah, sure. I don't see why Gigantopithecus blacki could not have came across there and started another, I guess, would you say, link of life from its species?
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly, because yeah, the humans did that to populate the new world. So I don't see why the Gigantopithecus couldn't have used it. Like you said, if it did find a way to survive.
Well, we have somebody right now that's asking us if, like we were saying, it could be something else, a different type of creature, maybe just altogether. Somebody's asking us right now, do you think that, so like the wolf creatures or the beast of Bray Road, for instance, do you think that could be a Sasquatch, or do you think a Sasquatch could be a wolf-like creature, like they were saying, or do you think that these, like basically they're saying, do you think that it could be, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I know I explained to you earlier, Tim.
Like, do you think they could be like a different type of animal, maybe?
Do you think they could be in the same phylum or something the same general type of animal?
Have some, well, you know, again, I guess, you know, I'm not going to say I'm a cryptozoologist, a professor or anything like that, or an anthropologist. I'm just, you know, a regular, you know, Bigfoot researcher. But as far as the beast of Bray Road goes, or what is the dog man is now starting to come up and so forth. I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked on YouTube or on YouTube looked up the dog man, but that thing actually looks like it's a gorilla. And then it looks like it transforms into it's on all fours, and you can see an eye and a canine tooth, I should say, which is really interesting. I still puzzles the community, the cryptozoology community, of what that could be. Now, the beast of Bray Road, I just barely got my feet wet into. Don't know too much about it. Plan on going out to Bray Road, Wisconsin, just to see, you know, just to look around and see what happens.
Yeah.
But you know, it never hurts. Do I think that they're related as far as DNA or the same genetics? I'd have to say I don't know too much about it. Right off the bat, I'd say no. But who knows? The future can tell so many different things.
Yeah. What do you think, Becky?
About Bigfoot being related to the Dogman thing?
No, just
is that what you're asking?
General, like they said specifically the beast of Bray Road, but we could open it up.
I don't know if I know that, but personally, I think Bigfoot, Sasquatch is more human-like. I don't really think of it as an animal. I think of it more as, I don't know, well, it's kind of in between. It seems like people and humans and animals, which, but the Dogman or werewolf thing, I don't know if I think they're the same thing. I guess they could be somehow related, but I guess because Bigfoot's supposed to look like an ape and the werewolf thing is supposed to look like a dog, but you just said it looked like a gorilla, didn't you?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you just...
The Dogman at first looks like a gorilla, but...
Well, then why is it called the Dogman?
Well, because when you get a close-up of it on the video, and if you stop at certain points, the teeth of it, you can see like a canine tooth of it. And that's probably where they get the Dogman from, is that one tooth, which does really look like a dog's tooth.
Yeah, and I've also heard before too that some people say like up in Wisconsin that it has the body of a Bigfoot, but then the head of like a wolf-looking creature.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird. I mean, the thing is,
there's so many weird creatures out there. I don't know.
It's a cryptid world.
Well,
that's for sure.
I know that they have a creature that was known as the pumpkin-headed monster that was in Southern California in the 50s. They said it basically fit the same exact description as a Bigfoot, except for the head was different, just like the Dogman or like the Beast of Bray Road. And someone wanted me to touch up and ask you guys if you think that these could just be maned animals, like that could be a Sasquatch, but maybe, I don't know, got hurt in the past or something like that.
You know, anything possible. It could just be a deformed like Bigfoot or something, but again, like Becky's saying, it's a cryptid world. We'll never know whether they're the same feature or something.
I do think it could be a deformity, and then then there's also the possibility of more deformities happening within an inbreeding social community as well. And once if you start inbreeding with a brother or sister, more deformities are going to happen, which could be enlarged head or an extra toe or an extra appendage.
Mm-hmm. Is this your guys' team that you posted in the chat room?
That's not our team. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Minnesota researcher that goes by the name of Mike Kloss, but this is his website.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just our sighting that we posted on his website. I did have videotape of Bigfoot crossing the road, but to make a long story short, that videotape is lost. I can go into detail if you guys would like to hear the story about that videotape and what was on there. It was back in our first trip to Ohio, Wills Creek, Ohio, back in 2001. We were coming to a Y in the intersection where either you could take a left or a right turn. Well, on the right side of the road, right where you could take a right turn, there was a cop going through somebody's car. And on the opposite side, towards the left, there was a bridge, and at the end of the bridge was a light, and there was a stream, a creek going under the bridge. Well, we had the camera pointing towards the left, while we were looking towards the right at the scene what the cop was doing, not paying attention to what was going in front of us as we were turning towards the left. We didn't even know we had a creature on videotape until we came back here to Minnesota. But what it was an adult and a young Bigfoot right by each other on the left side of the road. And when our headlights hit them, the adult ran off to the right. The little one kind of scampered around, then eventually went to the right, but also came back towards the left. Well, we could tell the adult went back under the bridge, because whatever was under the bridge came flying out from under the bridge. I want to say it was like a cat, which was really fast, scared crapless, I'd have to say, to be that cat, find what's going under the bridge. But, yeah, I mean, the picture wasn't really good. It was a really old, VHS camera that we used at that time. And but you could definitely see the figure running across the road. You can definitely see it was running on two legs. It was huge. It was hairy. It was black. And it was really awesome to see. Like I said, we didn't even know we had it until we came back from Minnesota. And after we had obviously seen the first one, paid a little bit more attention to the videotape. And then that's when we also noticed the second one. There's a smaller one. And so they both started going to the right, but the smaller one went off towards the left, went down to the water under the bridge that way, kind of met up with the big one under the bridge. By the time the big one was already down there, scared something out from under the bridge, and something came running across the bridge like a bat out of hell. It was very interesting.
Wow.
I also had, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance that you get a Bigfoot on videotape. And my colleague that was with us, he wanted to hold on to it, so I let him. He held it in his sister's public storage unit, which she was delinquent on paying the bill. So they basically confiscated everything that was in there, including our videotape footage of Bigfoot, which is a bummer, and he still apologizes to this day. And I still kick him in his ass once in a while to this day. But you got to do what you got to do, man. I also have video localizations of Bigfoot when we were down in Ohio, in the Wayne National Forest down there. We got caster footprints of Bigfoot while we were in Coshocton, Ohio. Here, even in Minnesota, there's a colleague of ours called Ed, who just this last October had a Bigfoot encounter in the Rice Creek chain of lake parks up here. And just not too long ago, he didn't even notice himself, but he was doing some expeditioning out here in this cold, below sub-zero temperatures, and has what looks to be a Bigfoot on his video. Very interesting stuff. You could, he's also on YouTube. He goes by the name of The First Billy Jack on YouTube, and you can look at some of his videos and stuff like that, and it's really interesting.
We have somebody right now that's asking, was the Bigfoot that you seen that was chasing you guys the one that you guys got on camera?
No, it was not the same. The one that was chasing us was brownish, reddish coloration. The one that we got on video camera, I would have to say it was black, just because it was a fuzzy video of it. And like I said, it was an older VHS video camera that we were using at the time, not even paying attention until we seen it when we came back here and watched it on videotape.
Mm-hmm. Somebody else is asking us right now.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted us to elaborate on UFOs and Sasquatch, Tim.
Right now, I would have to say, as far as going that far, right now I think the community should concentrate on finding more what we can about Bigfoots. The more we can find out Bigfoot, yeah, maybe there is a link to Bigfoot and UFO sightings. Maybe there ain't. But until we find one or the other, most likely the one that's on the ground that we can capture, we'll have a better chance of understanding that sometime down the road.
Exactly, yeah. Well, right now we have 33 minutes left in the show, and we are going to go on a quick commercial break again. And when we get back, we are going to hear a couple more stories, and we're going to ask a couple more questions. And you are listening to BFP Team Radio.
Hey, this is Archangel. Tune in every Sunday from 8 to 10 for a new episode of Bigfoot's Pad Paranormal Team Radio. All callers are welcome. The call-in number is 914-803-4053.
Are you interested in figuring out more information on the team or calling us out for a case? If so, you've come to the right spot. www.freewebs.com/BFPteam. This is King Sasquatch, and you are listening to Bigfoot's Pad.
Help, the human's about to escape.
Get your paws off me, you dirty ape!
He can talk. He can talk, 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 he can talk.
I can sing!
Ooh, help me, Dr. Zayas.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
What's wrong with me?
I think you're crazy.
Want a second opinion?
You're also lazy. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Can I play the piano anymore?
Of course you can.
And we are back on BFP Team Radio. And tonight's topic is on Bigfoot and Bigfoot-related creatures and stories. And we have the Minnesota Bigfoot Research on the phone, and we are talking about some sightings that happened back in 2001, 2002. And we also have a couple other people on the phone. Yeah. And sorry, I was typing something. Somebody was asking me a really good question. They said, do you think, for instance, how the Yowie lives over in Australia, and then you have the American Bigfoot and the Bigfoot in Europe, do you think that these creatures all eat different things, obviously? Or, like, what do you think they eat? Do you think there's a difference?
I would have to say, yeah, there is a big difference as far as diets. Just by the simple fact that there's different nature and different surroundings, different trees, different animals that they can live off of, different berries, different things grow in different places.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what, I know here in the United States, there's abundance of berries, roots, lichen, deer mutilations. We've seen deer mutilations out in Ohio. But as far as the yowie goes, haven't been down to Australia, but I know it's very. They have their climates, they have their seasons. I guess it's just what they can find at the time, when what's appealing, and what's out there that they can eat, what they have eaten, what they've learned to eat and learn to live and survive on.
Yeah, that is a good theory right there. I'd have to agree with you.
Yeah, me too.
But somebody else was asking the sand yeti, like the one that lives in the desert out here in Nevada.
Uh-huh.
Where would it hide? That's a pretty good question. What they're asking us right now. Would you want to go off on that there, Tim?
Well,
where does it live and eat?
Well, because even though it lives in a desert, like there's water sources and stuff. Like there's a giant underground river they say that runs underneath the Vega Valley. Even though we'll never see it, but there is ways for it to live. It could live in possible caves in the mountains and stuff. Because even though it's a desert, there's still places to hide and stuff. There's underground caves.
Definitely, I'd have to agree with you 100%. There are caves, and as far as water, I'm sure they could travel to a fresh stream. But if you can find a cactus plant, you start digging. Everybody knows that there's water if you dig for it. I'm sure that these creatures have picked up on that throughout time and all 1,000 years that they have been around. Especially if you're a desert dweller creature like that, I'm sure you can probably take the heat a little bit more better than ones in the forest or some in subarctic climates as well, such as the Yeti.
Exactly, yeah, because we live in Vegas. There's a bunch of nearby, there's nearby mountains and everything, but they always claim that they're getting reports of the sand yeti. So one time we went up to the city called Blue Diamond. We were up there and Jeremy's gonna step away for a minute, but we were at a place called Blue Diamond, and we were going there because there were reports of Bigfoot, yells and screams and growling. So we went there because this town, it's a really small town of no more than maybe 50 or 60 people. But we were there at 2 in the morning, just sitting there in the dead quiet. All of a sudden you just hear screaming loud, no human could make that noise. And it's basically like a retirement community, so there's no way in hell that there was a person doing that. And the only kind of creatures that live in the area are wild donkeys and stuff, but they just make yawing noises, so you can tell them apart. But yeah, we actually didn't get them on tape, but it was pretty interesting because we were kind of just sitting around. We weren't sitting in the car; we were sitting around it while it was off, just kind of sitting there waiting for something to happen. We just heard these loud screams, and we were kind of freaked out because we were just where the heck did it come from? And it sounded like
I don't blame you.
Yeah, it sounded like it was somewhat near us. So. Yeah, and a lot of people always try to disprove us, saying that, we're just kids, we're just there to scare ourselves or whatever, but actually not really, because we spend a lot of time outdoors and everything, so.
I hear you.
Yeah, because we've been doing it since 2003.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long our team's been around.
So we have a caller from 740 area code on the line.
Ohio.
Whoops, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, yeah, this is Joni from Ohio.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am a paranormal investigator, which is, not really into Bigfoot or anything, but we've had a lot of... Okay?
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's an area here, it's called Egypt Valley, and what it is, it's an old town area out of the 1700s that was strip mined. So it's really pretty barren, and like a lot of farmhouses that used to be there, nothing exists anymore hardly. It's a pretty barren area. It's a large area, wooded area, a lot of what they call strip pits, which are just these big mine, for the mine, just water, these big areas of water. So we've always heard stories about, in fact, my brother told me a story that he had seen something down there that they couldn't explain, this big, large creature running out of the strip pit water, so it had to be like 6 or 7 feet tall when they were down there fishing. So a couple years ago, we actually went down there at a cemetery we frequent to take some pictures. And it was on a Sunday afternoon, about 5 in the afternoon. And when we got down there, it's up on this little hill. We pulled up on the hill, and we could hear this tapping, but it was real rhythmic. It was like tap, 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 then tap, 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 and it just kept tapping. Now, like I say, this is a really desert area with nobody lives around there. So it kind of scared us. I had a aluminum ball bat and a camera. I was going to go back into the bush area and see what that was, if it was a person, what was going on back there. So I start to approach where I think this tapping, this tap, tap, tap is coming from, and the closer I get to it, it starts to slow down. But it's still rhythmic. It's still tap, tap, tap. And it's like tap, 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 tap. And it kept getting slower and slower. This is probably about a length of 100 yards. And I got to probably within 25 foot of that bush, those bushes, and it totally stopped. Well, then that really scared me because it stopped. Wow. So I started backing up, and I ran back to the vehicle, and my sister-in-law was with me, and she said, I said, no, I've got to get this picture. We can't get this picture. I'm getting this picture. So I went over to the cemetery to try to get this picture. In the meantime, I heard this yell or noise, whatever it was. I never have heard it from any animal I've seen on television or any person, and all I could think of was yowie when I heard it, and it did it twice. And that did scare. We did leave then because we don't know what that was.
Wow. Yeah, that was
like it was trying to ambush you.
So is that like is that what they do?
Oh, yeah.
I really don't know anything about them.
Well, from my research, I mean, when you hear the tap tap, it sounded like two rocks being clanged together.
Well, I got a picture in my head that my sister-in-law, she's like, oh, that's a deer. And I'm like, a deer doesn't stay in rhythm, you know. I got a picture in my head of like two large branches being hit together. It's what
so it sounded more like a wood-on-wood sound.
Like a wooden sound, yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, they do stuff like that. The tapping, the wood knockings and everything.
Well, it was perfectly in rhythm. It blew me away because I'm like, that's got to be a person. But the closer you got to it, the slower it got. And then when it stopped, I freaked out.
Wow.
It was like, I got you close enough, and now what's going to happen? It's kind of like what I got, you know, from the, like, run.
So yeah, when you went towards where you heard the noises, it stopped, and then...
After I got within I was headed for this bushy area, and I was probably like 25 feet from it maybe, and that's when it totally stopped. But the whole time I'm walking toward it, which is about 100 yards, it just kept getting slower and slower and slower, and then finally just stopped.
But that's kind of what happened to us when we seen our thing, wasn't it, Tim? Yeah, very, because, like I said, everything was, where we had our sighting, everything was loud. You could hear the natural noise of the forest, and it just stopped. Yeah, and you would hear, it sounded like three of them, we'd say 2 or 3 of them were walking around. Then as we would walk towards where we heard the noises coming from, they would stop. But when we would walk away from it, they would start walking with us almost. Exactly, like stalking. Like you couldn't see them, but you could hear them.
Well, I didn't hear anything like that. I didn't hear any movement, like an animal moving around or anything like that. But what were they doing? Were they trying to communicate with another one?
It could have been, or they might have been warning you guys too, because the apes they like to pound on their chest, and they also like to throw things and slam things around and like make almost like a warning. And if they are some kind of like a primate, it could be like maybe their natural sense of defense or something, or trying to communicate.
Well, I don't know, but it was pretty crazy. And we always thought, what was that thing that was so intelligent that it could make a rhythm like that? It was a perfect rhythm. It wasn't like, it was just perfectly in rhythm.
Wow, yeah, that's neat. Because I never heard anything exactly like that, like in rhythm. That's pretty neat.
Well, it was crazy, and I'll tell you what, I know even when we got out of the van, because, like, you know, when you get into paranormal, we've been doing that a long time, and you just pick up, when you go into an area, like what's around you, you just kind of get the the atmosphere or whatever you want to call it. And it was kind of a rainy day anyway, a dark kind of day in October. And when we got out, it just felt like that charge in the air, like something's going on.
Yeah.
It was just a really bizarre experience.
So can I ask you, did you smell anything at that time? Do you remember smelling anything?
I don't, because I was scared but intent on trying to find out what that noise was.
I know that they kind of do that to lure in a prey. So it almost sounds like they were setting up an ambush. But the other
kind of scary. That's nice.
Of communication.
I can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Were you by yourself walking towards the sound?
Just me and my sister-in-law. We just went down to take a couple of pictures of a tombstone for our website. We just decided on a spur of the moment to just get down there and do that.
Okay. Now this might really sound out of but I've been trying to do some research on this. You wouldn't happen to have been on your menstrual cycle at that time, would you have?
I doubt that. No, I don't think either one of us were. I can tell you about 100% neither one of us was. No.
Okay. Because there has been a lot of. I asked that because a lot of women that I've heard who have been on their menstrual cycle heard a lot of tapping sounds, and they get curious and they walk closer and closer. Don't hear nothing, but they can definitely feel if something was watching them. Did you have that feeling as well?
I just felt like there was something all around us. I just felt there was something going on. I mean, you just stepped out of the tracker, and you just felt like this little electric charge in the air. Like I say, it was kind of rainy and stuff. It could have been that, but you just had the feeling there was something going on. There was something there.
Well, it's really exciting. I mean, you're one of the few people that actually get to witness something like that. And have you told anybody else your story?
I mentioned it to a guy, and you guys probably know who he is. He did some research. I don't know if it was around Chillicothe, maybe. Oh, and out at Salt Fork.
Don Keating?
That might be. Yeah, I think that's him. But I never got a chance to get back to him. That's been over a year ago.
Okay. Don Keating is with Eastern Ohio Bigfoot Investigation Center, and he was one of the first people I contacted when I had my sighting down in Ohio back in 2001. He had a card at his general store down in the Willows Creek area, whose number was not there. But Don Keating is a really good researcher and well known in the community. Well, that's just amazing. You have a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
I'm just glad you guys could tell me what was going on, because we kind of thought that's what it was, but we don't know. Like I say, we don't know a lot about him, and we didn't know if he were in danger or we're going to have to watch that for that while, because we're down there a lot.
Well, I know something that you probably want to know is when we heard our thing that was similar to that, we actually stayed in the area, and one ended up coming out of the forest and walking around us and crossing the road.
Oh my God! Yeah, because
ours actually came out of the forest.
Never got a picture. We had some stuff we could have documented with, but we were just so bewildered and scared. We just left. We just took off.
Yeah. Well, I know when I see mine, I was so shocked. Whoops. But when I see mine, I was so shocked. I had a camera in my hand and didn't take a picture because I was so shocked at what I was seeing. Yeah, one of the other guys actually filmed it because I wasn't. Because I was shocked.
Well, okay. Thanks for talking to me and letting me know. But yeah, there was two of us there. It was just crazy.
Well, thank you for calling in.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good night. Well, that was a neat story.
Really great story. And, I mean, sometimes I come around these stories where you hear the tap, 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 and they get softer and softer just to get you farther and farther away from where you originally were, just to get you out in the wilderness alone. Like you said, you guys heard something similar to the same thing, but you didn't leave, and you stayed around there, and then you seen a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot cross the road. Now, what would have happened if a woman would have stayed there, and they probably know the gender of her as well. So that almost makes me think of, like I said, it could have been a setup of some sort where they could have ambushed her.
Yeah.
What you said about women being on their menstrual cycle, I've always wondered about that. If that would, if a woman goes out in the, woods or whatever on her menstrual cycle, would that attract a Sasquatch? I've always wondered about that.
Very much so. There has been documentation on women being on their menstrual cycle and Sasquatches being right outside of their tent when they were camping out in the woods.
Exactly, because they say they can actually smell it. Like that's what they say.
It's the pheromones and with that has to do with all that stuff. But they can definitely smell. Any animal can smell blood out in the wild. But as far as a primate man-like creature, I'm sure that just drives them wild. I mean, I'm sure it does. Because if you think about it, when they mate with each other, how they know that the female Sasquatch is ready for mating as well. I'm sure it's probably by a smell. Some type of same gland that could be shared between a female Sasquatch and a regular human being female. So that's one of the researching I've been trying to pinpoint down on. And I as far as what I've been finding is that it does work, and it's kind of a touchy subject because it's really what's the word am I looking for?
It's kind of a private thing, but
it really is private. But when it comes down to the research, it's for the better good.
Yeah, you kind of wonder if it should be used to actually help draw them in at the same time.
They do have pheromones that you could buy online that are made out of
pheromones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, because I know she was saying that she's out there a lot and everything, and that was her first experience with that kind of thing. Because I know how it is. Like when you go Sasquatch hunting for your very first time, and you go out there, and you know how it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I could just imagine how scared she was.
I'll do it one of these days.
On last week's show was they were actually saying that the Sasquatches, they probably get used to you as you're in their environment more, and if you actually come there frequently to the area where they live in, and maybe it just started becoming comfortable and wanted to let itself known. Too bad our friend Thomas wasn't able to make it on tonight, but I know within the next month and a half, we're going to have another Sasquatch show, and expected to have him on then. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great to hear.
Because our show actually switches topics every week, but so we do have a Sasquatch show at least once a month.
What other topics do you guys discuss?
Well,
ghosts, spirits, chupacabra.
Yeah, exactly.
They go over everything.
Yeah, we try to study most fields of the paranormal. We go over the basic, because our team mainly investigates ghosts and cryptids mainly, and UFOs, and for the most part. But we go over other topics.
Yeah.
I know next week, for instance, is going to be on alien abductions, and maybe get a little bit into some Mars mysteries or something next week. But probably 2 weeks after that, 3 weeks from now, we'll probably have another Sasquatch show.
Well, send me an email. You guys gave me yours. Hopefully we can meet up and because that's my favorite subject. That's the field that I feel like I've been doing this for quite some time now. But I'm always interested and willing to talk about Bigfoot.
Thank you very much. Permitting. Yeah, it's nice having you on our show.
Hey, not a problem. You guys, thanks for having me on.
Well, you could post your email in the chat room if you want, or your website or anything. You could announce it if you want, or.
Currently in the progress of making a website. Don't know how fast it will be up, but like I said, I got you guys' information here. Unless it got too far up for me, let's see if I can find it. But maybe you might want to throw that up there again for me, and maybe I can put that in my address book, and we can send each other emails, and you guys can give me a heads up when you have another. There it is. Thank you. Another Bigfoot show on or something like that.
You can also add us as your friend on Blog Talk if
right.
You were trying to find it. But another thing that somebody was asking us right now, since we have 11 minutes left in the show, but somebody was asking us if your team, do you guys only do Bigfoot, or do you guys do ghosts and things like that, or?
No, we're strictly Bigfoot Sasquatch researching.
So no, our team, we do a little bit of everything in the field.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we just we try to focus on 3 main areas, but we end up doing a bunch of other things too.
Yeah, that's good. It keeps you busy too, don't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Also, we found some pretty strange ghost phenomenon too.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that.
Let's see. Any questions? I'm sorry to cut you off there. Yeah, we have somebody right now that's asking us if we have heard any wood knocking, or if your guys' team's heard any wood knocking of any sort.
Yeah.
What would you say about that, Tim? I'm not really sure how to answer that.
Well, with our team, I wouldn't say necessarily wood knockings. We've heard like noises, like things being slammed together, and just noises of things crunching and stuff. But we haven't really heard wood knocking.
My team, the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, we have wood knocked, and I like to use a big wooden baseball bat. Sends a good echo, and it's pretty sturdy when you hit a tree. And we have gotten some great responses back. You're coming from long distances away, and I guess the most closest one that we had response come back to us from, I probably would say would be 75 to 100 yards away from us. And we have the bionic ear out in that area, and when you have a bionic ear or other hearing devices that can really amplify the sound, you can definitely tell it's a wood-on-wood sound. We've tried experimenting with aluminum baseball bats, and I think that they're smart enough and intelligent enough to know the difference between an earthy sound such as wood or a man-made sound such as a metal, as a bat or a pan or something like that. So I'd say to get better responses, I'd stick with wood. Some other researchers have used.
Oops. What happened? Oh, did you cut off?
I don't know. He was talking to just like.
Yeah, it said his phone got cut off.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was weird. But yeah, I think you should definitely stick to like wooden things, like exactly, because it'd be more natural to them, you know.
Mhm.
Like I said, well, I don't know. I could say we've heard wood knockings actually, because when you go to think about it, because like when we're in Northern California and stuff, we have heard them.
I know Brent said he heard them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, to me though, I wouldn't say they sound more like things like maybe rocks being hit together or something.
That really sucks. His phone cut out.
Yeah, it does. Is it still in the chat room or?
Yep. I'm trying to get a hold of him. But for those of you who are just coming in here, because we've got a couple of people that just came in, tonight's show we talked a little bit about some of the famous sightings, some theories that are out there, and we had Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team on the line, and we also had another caller. Since I know we're getting a lot of requests here for some Bigfoot shows coming up, we're going to have another one up within the next coming month.
Cool. Bigfoot Billy's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, he's interested to go hunt. Well, no, okay, not hunt, but investigate and everything, but yeah. It's always interesting hearing people's point of view, because every Sasquatch show we always have good callers. Becky could vouch for that, too.
Yeah, what?
I said, no, you could vouch for that. We always have good Sasquatch callers on the line.
Yeah. They always have really, really interesting stories, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we also have we had a pretty good Mothman guy on one time, too. Oh, he's a pervert.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys watch the videos that Thomas from his YouTube page?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we watched
I
it.
didn't see him. I didn't get the link. I need the link.
Whoops,
we got you back on the line
now.
Hello?
Hello, yeah, sorry about that. I lost the signal.
Oh, it's all right. Oh, man, we have 6 minutes left in our show.
Oh, yeah, and Jared, did you still have can you get Becky the link to that Tom's YouTube?
Yeah, I'll go look for that. Would you like to talk a little about next week's show, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Next week's show is going to be about alien abductions and, like, the theories about it. And we're supposed to have a couple callers call in. So it should be a pretty good show.
I know we get some pretty good calls with that, too.
Yeah. Well, I know we get pretty bad emails, too, about people saying how horrible they are. And it's pretty bad to listen to them sometimes.
Oops, are you in the chat room, Becky?
No, I'm not on the computer. My sister's on the computer, so that's why I'm not on it.
Well, let's not. We can always MySpace you the link, though.
Yeah, just send it to me on MySpace.
All right. You're gonna laugh at this one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna tell her about it. She'll have to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your team doing in the next couple weeks or next month or so?
As far as we know, we're just kind of sitting around waiting for spring before the warmer weather to happen up here in Minnesota. We've had a really cold Minnesota up here, and so and plus that's when we get more of the activity, more of the encounters, more of Class A, Class B reports, and what have you, more of the wood knocking responses and so forth. But hopefully this year, our team will be going out to some private land out here in Minnesota where there has been some reported encounters and activity as far as Bigfoot happening, and spend a couple weekends out there. Or, like I said, it's private land. They want us to come out there, so hopefully we can pretty much spend as much time as needed out there to do the research and hopefully collect enough evidence, even hopefully video evidence, like all researchers would love to have, to have proof that these creatures are real and we can get them protected.
Whoops, and we have a couple people that said that they forgot to catch your name real quick.
I'm the elusive one with the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, also known as Abe.
Mm-hmm. And what's your team doing the next couple weeks here, Becky?
I'm not really sure. With ESBI, we haven't done anything really since beginning of January with the bar investigation. With Spook, we just investigated a sheriff's office that used to be a funeral home last Saturday. And I think we're going to be investigating a school sometime this month. I'm not sure when. But, yeah, that's all I know.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes left in our show, and I'd like to thank all of our callers from today for calling in. And we'd like to thank the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team for calling in, as well as our other callers from the Egypt Valley area. And, of course, we'd like to thank Becky and Tim, and let you guys say your goodbyes and any websites or anything like that you guys want to pitch out there.
I'd just like to say thanks to the guests for listening. It was a pretty interesting show. I wasn't planning on calling in, but I'm glad I did. Thanks to you guys for the talk. It was nice. And, I love to talk about Bigfoot, tell other people my experiences and what I found in the Bigfoot research and community as far as our research goes, and just share the information. Hope you guys have luck in your field as well. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you. We'll keep in touch.
Sounds good.
Oops, and thank you for listening, everybody. And Becky?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you weren't on the line. Any websites or anything you'd like to give out?
Well, you guys could check out SoonerParanormalOfOK.com. That's one of the teams I'm with. Mm-hmm. So, and then we have MySpaces, which is myspace.com/SoonerParanormal or myspace.com/ESBI team. So you can check out one of those if you want. So.
Exactly. Message her because she's an expert at Sasquatch, too.
Yeah, you better shut up.
The Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, do you guys get some questions in our chat room?
Oh, okay. We just walk back over to the computer so I could take a look. I might lose the signal, though, but if I do, I'll just answer them on the chat room. Okay. No, do not have a MySpace. Except for a personal MySpace, nothing concerning the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team yet. Hopefully I will be getting one of those up and running, or a couple websites up and running for the Minnesota Bigfoot Research Team, just seeing how our stuff goes.
But yep. Sorry, we're running out of time here. We only have a couple seconds left. But again, thank you everybody for listening, and tune in next week at 9 o'clock on next Sunday Pacific time, and we'll have our next show. And thanks guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.